Good morning, welcome back. It is Monday, and of course that means one thing. We are back with Mailbag Monday and our 20 random NASCAR Racing Hero cards. We've been doing this series for a few months now. These are some cards that I acquired on a Facebook group transaction back around August or so, and been going through these each week, 20 cards at a time, every Monday. And we're going to continue this until we have exhausted the stack. So let's go ahead and get started. And the first card we are going to look at is coming from 1999 Truck Series. That would be the driver Lance Norrick. Talked about him before. His father was mayor at one time of Oklahoma City. But Lance Norrick drove the number 90 truck in the Truck Series for a while. Even had sponsorship from the PBA at one point, so that's pretty interesting. Up next, this card is from, looks like 2017, maybe thereabouts. I do not see a year on this one, so I'm going to say 2017. I'm probably wrong, but Daniel Suarez. I don't think it would have been 2017, because 2017 he would have been with Gibbs, so not exactly sure what year this one is. It would have been after Kurt left and before Cole took over, so maybe 18 or 19, not real sure. Up next from 2023, I'm pretty sure. It's either 22 or 23. Nonetheless, Brad K and those delicious King's Hawaiian rolls. Of course, King's Hawaiian has many different flavors of their little popular slider buns, if you will, or the slider rolls. We just used some the other day, made up some little slider burgers. Pretty tasty. And that car actually looks really nice for being an orange colored car. Now this next one is from 1996, and it's not one driver, it's multiple drivers, because it's a Pontiac with their new wide track Grand Prix. Of course, there you see Bobby Hamilton driving for Petty Enterprises, Kyle Petty in the PE2 car, Bobby Labonte at JGR, Chad Little with Mark Rippon's team that would later become a Roush car, Derek Cope with MB2, Johnny Benson at, who was at Bahari, and Ward Burton with Bill Davis Racing. So a lot of nice cars there, and there you see their street cars, and that would have been a nice one to get signed. I imagine, if you got Richard Petty to sign that one, you get the rest of the drivers to sign that. That'd be a pretty cool little piece to have. This next card comes from the Busch Series in 1995, and I think it was before this team signed a driver, because there's not a driver assigned to this car on the front or the back. Mike Laughlin Racing Team Millicron, Cincinnati Millicron, if you will. Gives you some information about the company and Mike Laughlin Racing products over here on the right. So, very cool. I want to say Doug Hevron drove that car in 95, but I'm kind of drawing a bit of a blank right now. We stay in the, I believe this was still the Busch Series. No, it's the Cup Series. Okay, that's interesting. And it has to be 2020 because our driver is wearing a mask. Could be 21. For Rick Ware Racing, J.J. Yaley with Fat Boy Premium Ice Cream. Have to see if I have any of that in my local grocers. Go back to the Truck Series, and we are going to be entering 2023, it looks like. Spencer Boyd with various whiskeys on the back of this truck. Fort Worth Stockyards. Heard Fort Worth Stockyards is an interesting place. Lots of good eating down there. 1999 Cup Series takes us to Brett Bodine Racing and the Paychex Ford. Again, Brett Bodine was always getting the most interesting sponsorships at times. Of course, I think Paychex is appropriate, considering in 1997 he had a sponsor that didn't pay him. Now, what year is this next one? Looks like 2022. Eric Almirola, Stuart Haas Racing. Nice looking hero cards. I think this Smithfield paint job, that black and white that he's had since he's been at SHR, looks a lot better than the one that he had at Petty Enterprises. Up next, 2021. This is JEG's CRA All-Stars Tour. Local driver, Zachary Tinkle. think it's funny that I got a local driver in this lot, and this lot came, I believe, from Tennessee or Virginia. I really can't remember, but there's the 2021 JAGS CRA All-Stars. If I would have known maybe I'd like to get back to Anderson Speedway this year. That track's about 30 minutes from me. Then up next from maybe 1998. No, 2000. B.A. Wilson. He had a brief career in the truck series, late 90s, early 2000s. Of course, he was one of them involved in that horrible crash with Jeffrey Bodine in the first ever truck race at Daytona. Then up next is, looks like 1995 Busch Series. Part-time schedule for Rick Wilson with the Food Country folks, Charlie Henderson's team. Of course, this team has been a mainstay in the Xfinity and now Truck Series for a number of years. Rick had 2 wins for that team in, 1989 or 90, thereabouts? I believe it was Bristol and Dover. He drove for them on and off for a number of years. That team is still competing today at a high level, part-time in the Truck Series. 2004 Truck Series with John Wood. Of course, I remember John did run briefly in the trucks, briefly in Xfinity, and then his career just kind of dried up. He made a few cup starts. Not sure what happened, but I believe he's part of the business end of the Wood Brothers now. What year is this one? 2023. Back to Xfinity. Daniel Hemrick with Colleague. I believe Hemrick is going back up to the Cup Series next year with the Colleague team. I don't have nothing against Daniel. I just think it's weird that he gets bounced around in all these series. And between Truck, Xfinity, and Cup, he's been in all 3 series full-time pretty much for, 10, 11 years and has 1 win. And that was the win at Phoenix in 2021 when he won the Xfinity Series Championship. But I guess if you're going to win big. 2004 multi-driver card here. For Ultra Motorsports, you have Ted Musgrave in the 1 and Andy Houston in the 2. Don't want to say Andy Houston lasted long with this team for some reason. Of course, Musgrave did win a title with that team, and Ted Musgrave became the first driver in NASCAR history, and this was 2004 or 5. I'm drawing a blank on when he won the title, but he was the first National Series driver, so that's Cup, Xfinity, and Truck, to win a championship with the car, or truck in this case, with the number 1. So very interesting there. 1996, DW. He switched from Western Auto branding to Western Auto's Parts America branding. This was when Darrell Waltrip Racing was starting to wind down. This would be their next to last full season. They'd run the full season in 97, start off in 98, and then pretty much, I don't want to say filter off, but they just lack sponsorship. Then up next, what year is this from? I don't have a 2022. So Bubba Wallace. And I think the funny thing about this is John Hunter Nemechek drove this car, if I remember correctly. Bubba was on a 1-race suspension following the incident at Vegas with him and Kyle Larson. This next one is 1993, the Herminator, Kenny Wallace, with the Dirt Devil paint job. They did not run those colors. They actually changed the sponsor and the number to a white as it showed up better on TV, but the initial branding and previews with that car was with the pink numbers and lettering. Got a couple more cards to go, and then we'll call it a day. Looks like this one is from 1995. Former NASCAR champ Bill Elliott with Reese's. Of course, Reese's was a associate sponsor on the McDonald's Ford. Reese's also, for a period of time, was on Mark Martin's car. And then Reese's did sponsor, who was it? Richard Childress Racing in the Busch Series down the road with Boyer and a few other drivers. Then our final card from 1997 features Cale Yarborough, car owner, and John Andretti. And the two dogs, I believe it's, Nipper and Chipper, the RCA dogs. Of course, RCA was part of the Thompson Consumer Electronics family. RCA, I don't even know if RCA exists anymore. There used to be a headquarters about 15 minutes from my house that was branded as RCA. Then they switched it to Thompson, and then they kind of went away. But RCA at this time was focusing on their DSS, their digital satellite systems. We did have one of those for a couple years. They worked great until it got cloudy out. Of course, that was kind of the infancy. We had ours in 1995. That was kind of the infancy of those. So they were still developing. And if you had a heavy cloud cover, or if it got windy and it was moving the dish around just ever so slightly, you didn't get a signal. But anyway, that has been our Mailbag Monday for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks again, as always, for watching. And make sure you come back at noon for Fast Packs and come back later this afternoon for our birthdays and events. Thanks for watching.